What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Parker Chronicles podcast. It's a podcast that I've been talking about for a very long time. Me and my brother have been talking about it for a very long time, so it's very exciting to finally get it going, even though it's going to be a little rough in these first few episodes, but I'm very excited. Recently, Godzilla vs. Kong came out, and so I figured I want to start it now because I want to talk about all four of these movies in the Monsterverse. And there's no better people to have on this podcast to talk about Godzilla than DNA Gaming. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And
thank you very much for having us.
And I am your host. I probably should have did that first. See, I told you it's going to be rough. I am your host, the Parker XP. This is my co-host, or the other host, Nemesis Angel, aka the other Parker.
I'm the other guy.
The younger Parker. But yeah, we are talking about, if you can't tell by the overlay, it's beautiful, isn't it? Did you guys see it? You guys see the beautiful overlay that I made? So, no, I threw this, I'm no joke, threw this together in about 5 minutes. But I hope you enjoy what Twitch is seeing right now.
I'm sure it's glorious.
It is. It's fantastic. For something that was thrown together in 5 minutes, it's fantastic. I was able to figure out the cam situation for Discord thanks to BLT in our group Discord.
I kind of wish Godzilla's mouth was above me, so it's like him killing Muto.
Yeah.
But yeah, I pretty much just took that poster that I used the smaller picture and I just blew it up and then I just use it again, creative, right? Yo, thanks for the 18-month resub. So we're not doing alerts because we're going to be putting this on YouTube and probably going to try to put it on some podcast services. So alerts are going to be turned off, but I will of course acknowledge any subs, follows, all that, and kind of have it cut so we can kind of cut that out when we put it on other services. But thanks for the 18-month resub. Appreciate that. So tonight we are talking about Godzilla 2014. This is how unprepared I am. I probably should have pulled up the wiki because I was like, oh, I should do it, talk about like the release date and all that fun stuff. And I don't even have it pulled up. So yeah.
Don't you love that? You're like,
I'm good. I got this. I'm good, man. Whatever. Released on May 16th, 2014. Can you believe it's been 7 years since this movie came out? Unreal. This is only the second Godzilla movie. It was the second Godzilla movie made by an American studio, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys can throw all that out because 1998 was the first one, correct?
The second completed Godzilla film.
Right. Yes. Bob, what's going on, buddy? So yeah, directed by Gareth Edwards, most notably directing also, what was it, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And what was the other, what was he most famous for? It was the movie he had done, Monsters.
Yeah.
Never seen that. So that's definitely something I got to put on my list. But, so I'm going to go around. I want we'll start off with, our guest's opinion. What did you guys think of this movie when you first saw it?
Yeah, you go first.
No.
Okay, fair.
You're the resident review expert.
Without giving like a total, like this is actually what I think of the film. It was a much better start as far as an American film goes to representing Godzilla.
Okay.
I think the tone fit it well. I don't really know what to say. I thought it did a pretty good job. It felt like Godzilla. The Godzilla in it felt like Godzilla. I don't know if that makes any sense to.
No. I feel you. 100%. Well, before I want everybody's opinions, then I'll spew, my thoughts.
You have an opinion. Go.
I have an opinion. It doesn't take much to please me when it comes to kaiju movies.
Right?
What?
I'm agreeing.
Right? Can we just address the people who just are too they just expect way too much from these movies when it's just got big giant dinosaurs or giant lizard. Come on, man. People just get crazy, but no. Sorry, I don't want to go. I don't want to.
I got to comment on that at some point
Okay,
during this podcast.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here. Keep going. Keep going.
Your thought. Keep going.
Sorry.
No, I thought it was good, and I didn't think there was enough Godzilla, but that's just my opinion.
Right. I completely agree. All right, brother.
All right. Well, I'm gonna tell you that my favorite part was bringing back the old Godzilla look. I like the big fat legs and like very stumpy walking. And
No, he was just more menacing.
After watching I grew up watching the one in New York City, and that was like
that was where I was gonna get to before we went live.
Okay. And that's the Godzilla I grew up on, and that was just horrendous. So
right.
Watching the original look of Godzilla come back was exciting, but I can't agree that he was not in it enough.
All right. I like this movie. Like I said, before we went live, I was going to say something, but I wanted to wait till we were live. So yeah, we grew up knowing of Godzilla, like the Japanese version of Godzilla and, the original, 1954 film and all that. But yeah, we grew up on the bad Godzilla, which is the 1998 Matthew Broderick film.
It was great.
Being 90s kids and not being like, people not showing us those, the original Godzilla films. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we grew up with. But, knowing the reference and, I have seen the 1954 film. And for a movie that is as old as it is still fantastic in my opinion. But yeah, the look of Godzilla being like, taking what they all throughout the years of what Godzilla looks like and just putting it into something that could, when you say in reality, you got to put in quotations because it's like, bro, if something like that is coming through anywhere, I'm long gone. All right. Yeah, and that's what you're imagining, right? That's like,
okay. If anything 1/3 that size, I'm still running.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the size. I mean, I'm scared of a bumblebee coming through.
Right. But I enjoyed this film a lot. The problem, like, I'll agree with you, Ara, is that it doesn't have enough Godzilla. But the problem is, are you laughing at him opening a fridge right now?
I'm laughing at we're all wrong. He's got it right. Like, no, my stuff is right here, bro.
Yeah, I have to,
oh my god! Thank you for the lyric, Caroline. Good to see you.
Leave the podcast. It just is right here.
Exactly.
Oh my god,
right.
That's so good.
You're correct. You're wrong.
But I agree. Not enough Godzilla. The problem with these films and with a lot of like films that have to do like for an example for me is like Transformers.
Ugh.
Too much human stuff. There's too much, like we're focusing too much on humans and you don't make the humans interesting. Okay. You don't make them interesting at all. You make them boring. And I'm going to go into a very long rant about the main character of this film because he's not good. That is literally that is pretty much my rough rant, but I'll go into it deeper. Oh, no way. Matthew Broderick for the win.
But doing an Elvis impersonation.
Damn, what's up, buddy? But yeah, they too much human. They just need to focus more on the kaijus, these just more things that are interesting. Okay, instead of I don't care about this character going home from fighting and reconnecting with his family and then they're just gone. And you're just like, why did I care? Why do I care? Oh God. All right. Let's get this started. So let's start from the beginning. So this movie starts off, correct me. How does this movie start? Break it down.
Outside of the title sequence, they're building us up about the film. They begin in the Philippines, where they find the essentially the sinkhole. There's a mining operation, but there's a huge sinkhole underneath of it, and they find the essentially the carcass of a living organism, and then 2 egg sacs, one hatched, the other one not, and presumed inert.
Yeah, I really like the title sequence where it's like the old, you know, the 50s footage of you know, Godzilla coming out of the water. You don't really see his entire body, but you see the sails on his back coming out of the water, and then them nuking, and you kind of like, you know, if you don't know exactly what they're trying to do. Like, are they trying, like, they're trying to destroy him, but they don't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Because later on you find out that, you know, it's actually beneficial to him. I love the fact that it's not an iguana that was on an island that got hit by a nuke and then turned into a giant, just a bigger iguana. Like
French Polynesian.
Like, oh my! Literally, the funniest thing. Just like kind of comparing. I remember seeing this movie. I don't know if I saw this movie in theaters, but I do remember seeing this movie shortly after it came out, and just hard comparing these two movies, like the '98 and this film. Like, oh my god, that movie was really as bad as people said it was. Like, it was bad. You know, like, especially you know, for people like you guys that are huge kaiju fans and Godzilla fans, especially the originals. Like, I could only imagine what it was like for you to see the '98 film.
Well, ironically, I'll say this, because that came out when 98. How old was I? I would have been just before I was 13, so I was in middle school. And I actually watched the movie, and it doesn't take much to impress me as far as a giant monster movie goes. I actually didn't mind the movie when I was younger. Then later I was like, this is stupid. Like, what was I thinking?
Why did they call it? I feel like they only called it Godzilla because it was, you know, it was an IP that was knowledgeable to people. I think if they had called it something else, I think it would still been popular and people would have wanted to go see it. But because they were like, it's got to be Godzilla.
Giant lizard. I would have liked it better, to be honest.
No, it wouldn't, because it's a decent, like, at its core, it's a okay, decent-ish giant monster movie. It's just not a good Godzilla movie. You should name it something else. But they just wanted, you're right, they did just want to cash in on the notoriety. They just wanted the name. That's it.
Yep. But as a kid, I loved the film. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this one. So yeah, we got the title sequence, and then they find they find the nest, right, of the first Muto, right, and it escapes through the side. And it escapes through the side of the mountain. Yes. That's where we first meet Ken Watanabe's character and Sally Hawkins' character, right? Mm-hmm. Sally Hawkins was in that scene as well. I think out of all the human characters in these 4 movies that we're going to talk about over the next few weeks is Ken Watanabe's character. I just love his like relationship with respecting, you know, a creature that literally could just wipe the world out, literally indestructible, and all that. And oh man, and Sally Hawkins, I think is a good companion to him too. I really enjoy her work. But yeah, those are I love those characters. Definitely when it comes to the human characters in all of these films, they are definitely towards the top for me. So I read or I heard, because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about these films, and I heard that they had to call the creatures Mutos because they didn't have the rights to the other kaijus from Godzilla, like the Godzilla universe.
To my knowledge, when they made it, the only creature they got rights to was Godzilla. Yes, so they created their own originals, which, you know, can be hit or miss as far as those films go. But yeah, that is what happened. Right.
Yeah. And then, I mean, of course, they were able to get it for the second film. But yeah, I mean, I like the design of the Mutos. I thought they were creative. They were a mixture of, like, you know, a bunch of different animals. Like, you have like the beak kind of resembled something you see on like a squid, and then you have like the more of a bug-like body. But can we just note that the sound design in these films are just some of the best in film?
Godzilla's atomic breath, like the way he like
charges up.
Oh my god, the sound to that just gets me going.
It just
I've never been so excited in my life.
I just remember watching it and the airport scene when you first see Godzilla, but you don't see him all at once. You see the flares shoot down his leg, and just that earthly rumble.
Yes.
And then it pans up to him in full form, and you just like, I had goosebumps. I might have cried a little bit because it was just so good. And the crazy thing is, it wasn't just the fact of seeing him, it was just the sound design adds to it. The sound, like if that all of that didn't happen, and then his roar, oh my god, I think I probably bawled my eyes out. Like best animal roar in film history.
Yep.
Better than the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Yep, sorry, T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, sorry. I love great film,
right
but
it's probably in the street.
Yeah. But oh my god. But yeah, sound design A+ for this film. Actually, for all of the Monsterverse movies.
Yeah, the sound designs. As far as effects, I have complaints about some of the soundtracks. This movie, outside of like the main theme, I really didn't care for the music in this film. But
yeah. I'm talking about like the music. I feel like it's kind of like you got really intense parts, like really intense orchestra playing over a scene that probably doesn't need that. But when it comes to like the Mutos and Godzilla, oh, so good.
Oh no, I agree. The sounds, the sound effects, the roaring, like just everything. They did a good job. They were very respectful.
So we go from them discovering the Muto nest, escaping, and then we go to Bryan Cranston's character. It was his Joe Brody and his wife and their son Ford. And fun trivia about their last name. So they named them the Brodies after the main character from Jaws. That family was kind of like an homage to Spielberg, and Gareth Edwards is a huge fan of Spielberg and Jaws, so that was kind of an homage, which of course is my favorite film.
Of course you know that.
I would have said if you didn't bring that up.
I read a lot of unnecessary information, and I listen to a lot of podcasts that tell me unnecessary information that I probably wouldn't have found out.
Well, it's almost like you took the same idea for your own family, so that's kind of weird.
It's weird. It's crazy.
Almost worse than shirt today. Almost.
Oh. All right. Do you want to continue? On the plot?
Look, I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to be kind of the filler because I was horrible and did not rewatch this before doing this podcast. So I'm a little lost a little bit. I need to be refreshed. So
all right. Well, so
about halfway through the movie.
Yeah. This is a lot of human stuff that no one cares about. This is just a lot of like,
I probably watched it in 2014.
So Bryan Cranston's character, him and his wife work at a power plant in Japan. And immediately Bryan Cranston sends his wife down to level 5 to study the seismic just level 5, get down there now. All right. And then seismic activity happens, and they're all, things are happening. And then a giant like earthquake style eruption happens. And, bad thing, like, toxic, atomic or nuclear energy is literally flooding through these tunnels on level 5. And the wife's got to run to escape. And Bryan Cranston is sprinting, to go save his wife. And it's too late because she had to be a nice person and save someone who fell.
Yep.
That's it.
One for the team.
Yep. Yeah. Nuclear energy is just flowing towards you immediately. If it hits you for a second, you're dead. But sorry, Becky, I gotta go. But listen,
just go.
Listen,
survival of the fittest.
Bryan Cranston is amazing. Yes. I love Bryan Cranston, and the travesty that is this film is that, and I'm going to skip ahead. Bryan Cranston dies way too early into this film, and we have to deal with his obnoxious and stone-faced son. But I digress. We'll continue from where we left off. So she dies. The whole power plant falls. Everybody's inside still, I think. And Ford is watching from his school because he's a young child. He's watching from his school as his parent. He thinks both of his parents are dead. And then it jumps like 18 years or something. No, well, 15 years approximately.
Yep.
And we get to meet Aaron Taylor Johnson, who's playing Ford as an adult. And
I can tell
Aaron
forward to this part.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, I loved him in Kick-Ass. I thought he was really good in Kick-Ass, and that's it. That is about it. He was a terrible Quicksilver in Avengers Age of Ultron, and he was terrible in this film. And not just the fact that he literally looked like he did not want to be there. Like he didn't give a shit about anything. He literally, like, when we get to the part where Bryan Cranston dies, this is his father. He looks like nothing. Like, who cares? I don't care. Well, all right. So I'm sad. My dad died, and then we move on. It just never talk about it again. He literally calls his wife, who plays his sister in Age of Ultron, by the way. It's kind of weird. Goes from playing brother and sister, and now they're husband and wife in this film. Just calls her up, just like, hey, Joe died, and then we never hear about it again. So he's coming home because he's a bomb, like he diffuses bombs, right?
He is a disposal person, ordnance.
Yeah, the bomb disposal. And do you guys have any? I want to hear what you think of Ford Brody, aka Aaron Taylor Johnson, or the other way around.
I just think of a car in a much better movie. That's what I think of. Honestly, you're right. Like literally, he doesn't contribute much. Like he's angry at his dad for a while, and he does not look like he wants to be there. Like he's angry at his dad, and then he's like medium, like nothing, just passive, whatever. And then his dad dies, and he's like a kid that accidentally hit his baseball into the neighbor's yard and has a dog in their backyard. No, that's it. Moving on.
Oh man, sorry. Go ahead.
They try. I want to say that, like, because I know this dude can do decent movies. Gareth Edwards can do good. He did Rogue One, and Rogue One is, I don't care, pretty much the best Star Wars movie.
I agree. It's definitely top 3 for me.
Absolutely. And I know the guy can direct people. I just don't think he wanted to be there. He just wanted to check. He's like, this isn't going to pan out.
Yeah, the problem, and when we get to next week when we talk about Kong Skull Island, the thing is that the studios, I think, mess too much with these movies.
Yeah.
Where these directors, like if you look at this film here with Gareth Edwards, who I think is a very good director, as you said. And then next week is, oh man, I can't remember. Jordan Voight Roberts, I think, is the one who directed Kong Skull Island, and he's going to be directing, or he is directing, the Metal Gear Solid film.
Oh boy!
But the thing was, I read in an interview like that he was like, yeah, there's a lot of things that we had to kind of just add in or take out because the studio was like, oh, we need all this, and it's like, well, it doesn't make sense to the vision. Like, can you let these directors do their thing?
Exactly.
It really annoys me because, like, you look for another example is like the Fantastic Four film, the really bad one from 2015. That movie is terrible, but you know that Josh Trank is a good director because he did a fantastic job with Chronicle. Yeah, I believe that's it's a fantastic film, an indie film that put him on the map. And then, of course, Fox came in and just pretty much destroyed Fantastic Four. And pretty much he came out and was like, yeah, I pretty much did nothing because every time I tried to do something, they would do something else. And I feel like that's what every director of these high ticket films are. Because especially for Godzilla, it's like we only have him for so long before Toho takes him back.
Yep.
So we really just need to go ham. We gotta make sure we do things in this film and then do stuff completely different in the next one that make no sense to what he could do in this film. And then when we get to the final film, it's just, your guys are gonna be like, what the hell am I watching?
What happened here? What happened to this person?
Where did he come from? Why do I care? But that's the thing. Well, back to Aaron Taylor Johnson. He is a stone-faced, terrible actor in this film. Doesn't give a shit about anything. I think the only time you see him smile is like when him and Elizabeth Olsen are having a conversation on their couch about things I don't care.
Smile too. Okay?
That's true.
I'm just throwing
Yes.
that in there.
Yes.
That would make me smile even if I was stone cold faced.
But yeah, so oh man. All right. So he goes home, sees his family. That's whatever. And then he gets a call, or she gets a call that Joe got arrested in Japan for trying to go back to his house. Because it's in a quarantine zone since the explosion. Because he is everybody thinks he's crazy because he knows that it wasn't. What did they say it was? That it was just one of the reactors.
It was
explode.
It was just like a seismic event or like a meltdown or whatever. Like it wasn't
right. So it was like
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
I think it was one of those two. I really don't recall like it being like this big deal in the movie. I think it was like you said, just a seismic event or just meltdown or something is what caused it. So
okay, so it was kind of like a Chernobyl event. That's what they were saying it as.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody thinks he's crazy because he knows that it wasn't. Like but no one believes him, and even his dumb son. You're crazy, Dad. You don't know. Like this dude has been studying for since it happened of everything going on, and his son's like, Dad, you're crazy. You're just crazy, Dad. Shut up, Dad. You're dumb. And then immediately he's like, we got to go back. And his son's like, no. And then the next scene is him in a suit going and risking his military career by chance. Like, for a fact that if they were really arrested, he would have been stripped of all of his military accolades, probably been, taken out of the military. Like his job in the military was so high, right? You think? Like being a bomb.
I don't think you just rip them right off your chest right when you get it.
Yeah, it's just
they have to go to trial.
I've seen movies where they do that, right? They just rip off. Give me that metal back.
The whole thing.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. And so yeah, they get arrested and brought into we're introduced to Monarch back in the beginning of the movie when they discover the Muto nest, but we're fully introduced to them in this where they discover another chrysalis or cocoon. What cocoon would you say? Would you call it?
Correct. It would be more of a cocoon or chrysalis. Either one would work.
Right. And then we get to hear Ken Watanabe talk, and I'm just like, I'm in. Sell me on this. And he slowly starts believing Joe, of course, because they study this crazy stuff. And then as they're about to pretty much be like, yo, you were right this whole time. Then the cocoon starts to break out, or they're trying to what these Mutos are doing is all these creatures feed off the nuclear energy, correct? So what it does is it goes to this plant, where Joe used to work, and it's sucking all of the nuclear energy from the plant.
Yep.
And that's when they had figured out that back when they were trying to destroy Godzilla, it was actually helping him out, keeping him strong, and it was kind of it's food for them, which is such a weird concept. That
radiation makes everything better.
It's just all right, cool, and then you just continue to see the things that these Mutos can do. Because is this the Muto that grows wings and flies away?
Yeah, it's the male.
Yeah.
Which is the male. Oh, right. And then the one from the beginning of the movie is the female.
Actually, the one from the beginning of the movie is the male.
Okay, so that one left and went to that power plant.
It was the closest.
Okay. Yeah. I got you.
Now, forget I might be wrong, but doesn't it call out to Godzilla, and that's how it all isn't it calling out the entire time?
So Godzilla, it actually, you guys go ahead because you're gonna know more than I am. I'm just gonna spew stupid shit.
Essentially, what's proposed in the film is the male hatches first from its state, and once it does, it sends some kind of signal to the female that it can detect to pupate, because it was not pupate, but to hatch as well, because it was in suspension because the males would come out first before the females. They would send that signal to trigger the females, and Godzilla can understand what's going on. So it's like he's eavesdropping, essentially.
Oh, okay.
He can hear these two communicating
right.
back and forth.
So pretty much they were calling out, and Godzilla was like, screw you, you don't belong here.
He's like, I'm the king here, and then has to go take care of him.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, party line.
Yeah. All right, you guys might have to help me like progress through the plot a little bit. So after this, this is when it starts to hatch, and it's destroying everything. And why couldn't you just sat in that room for like 10 more minutes? He would have still been alive. This movie would have been a million times better because Bryan Cranston would have been in it the whole time. But instead, he walks across a bridge and it collapses. And then that's pretty much the end of Bryan Cranston. He dies on a helicopter. And that was literally the saddest part of this movie. Like, he dies on the helicopter. Yeah, exactly. Like, why couldn't Ford have fell off the bridge? No one would have cared.
That's a bridge. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, it was a giant Muto that destroyed it. He literally like took it out.
Was not built
out. Again, talking about the sound design, the sound that comes from the Mutos, like just that kind of like it's like a really weird gurgling sound. Mm-hmm. But it's so cool. It sounds like a really deep sonar. Like when it oh man.
Itself. It's like
yeah. And now I'm trying to think what happens after. Oh, does Ken Watanabe's character what's his name? Serizawa.
Serizawa. Oh, every time you mention that, my heart drops.
Serizawa? Why?
Just because what happens to him later.
Oh, yes. It's no, spoiler alert. Everybody,
nobody has
don't listen.
Well, they just heard.
It's okay. Half the people. Oh, so he's
cut off for all they know.
So this is when Serizawa and Sally Hawkins' character, which I can't remember her name,
Vivian, I think. I want to say it's Vivian something.
Vivian, okay. They are pretty much telling Ford about Godzilla and about how there are these I don't think they use the word Titans in this movie yet. No, I think that's not till the next one, but they're just talking about how there's these creatures that, not a lot of people know about, which I have no idea how, but then you later find out why. And how they were using nuclear bombs to try to destroy Godzilla, not knowing that he actually fed off of the nuclear energy from the bombs, which I always thought was a super cool concept. Like that. I would like that's like I said, that beginning part where they're kind of showing like clips of old footage from the 50s of Godzilla. Just you don't see his whole body. It's such a cool image, and they kind of show it again, and I really like that a lot. And then this is where I get a little fuzzy. What happens after this?
They essentially actually discuss about Godzilla with Ford's character, and then say, "Hey, the Muto is moving to the closest energy source. They're trying to figure out where." And they're like, "Ford, we're going to dump you off in Hawaii so you can take a flight home." And ironically, of course, the Muto intercepts a Russian sub and like goes to Hawaii.
What is that? Oh, that's actually a cool image of them like going through the jungle, and they look up and it's just like, what? It's just a massive submarine in the mountain.
It's always
really cool.
Russian stuff. Nobody else.
Yeah. No one else has submarines in the world. Just Russians. All right. Russian people are watching this like, what? Come on. And that's the same. It's the same Muto from the last scene, correct?
Yes.
It flies to Hawaii. Okay. And then we see Ford on a train on what are they called? Monorails?
Yeah.
Heading towards the airport, and a little kid gets separated from his parents, and Ford's like, "I'll babysit you." And then we get the cool scene where people are having dinner on the beach, and the tide starts going out which is pretty much like once you see it. I literally just watched a documentary about a tsunami that happened in Japan in like 2011. And like just hearing people's recounts of like that exact moment, I'm like, oh, this is terrifying. Even though you know who it is, At least I did. You know, I don't think everybody did, but knowing what it was, it's still terrifying. I think the funny thing was, is like I'm watching it with my wife, and she's just like, "Oh, the dog." The dog was tied to the tree. But then it like rips it. That dog was determined. He's like, I'm out of here. He just rips it right off the tree. But yeah, that was terrifying, seeing the people running down, you know, the street as the giant wave comes in. But so Ford's on the monorail, power goes out, and then the power comes back on. And when the power comes back on, you see the Muto, like with the, like not in full, but like the lights from the track shining on him. And he destroys part of the train. The train, like, you know, falls a little bit, and he's trying to save the kid and all that stuff no one cares about. This is literally a part where, like, the only thing that I wanted to see was the thing that happens 12 seconds later, which is they're shooting flares and they're shooting at something you can't see off screen.
Yep.
And you see the red flares, which red is a very prominent color in this movie.
Yeah.
That's why I got the red lights on today, because this movie is very red, as the next movie will be a completely different color. But the red flares shine past these giant windows at probably the coolest airport I've ever seen. The Honolulu, I don't even know what airport it is, but it's really cool. It's literally just giant windows.
Yeah.
And the flares fall down, and it's just a giant leg just steps, and then it pans up, and you get like that really ominous sound, and then it shows Godzilla like in full, and then he roars, and it is the coolest sound I've ever heard in my life. Just the fact that he roars, and then when is he inhaling, that makes that like other sound that happens after he roars.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It may be just that tonal, like, you know, something they added to change his roar up a little bit. But that whole scene is like one of the best shots in all.
Oh my god! It literally? I've seen this movie probably 4 or 5 times since it came out, and every time that scene comes up, I get goosebumps, because it's just so well. It's so well shot. The CG is amazing. Like, because it's raining, so it's like he's glistening, and then the flares coming down, and then the roar just tops it all off. And it's not even just the roar, like I said, it's whatever he does after he roars. I don't know, it sounds like he's inhaling, but it's like a weird rumble sound. Oh man, so good. So good.
I know what you're talking about. It's good stuff. It's great. I love that scene. And then I'll let you go from here, because I love what they do.
You might have to help me, because I'm trying to think of what exactly happens after the scene.
Muto escapes from Honolulu, and that goes to San Francisco.
Oh, right. It goes back to the worst thing they could do in a movie is they go from showing the Muto and then showing Godzilla, and instead of seeing them fight, they go to a newsreel of them fighting, and it's the son sitting on the couch like, oh my God. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, I don't like that part.
I hate.
I'm really bad about this movie right now, but that part bothered me. I was like, okay.
I hate it. And it's just her going, and it's her. I don't even know I don't remember the son's name, because I don't care. But, and she's just like, get off the TV, turn the I'm like, I hate this. I hate this so much. I would rather watch Godzilla in this Muto fight for the next minute and a half than watch this dumb scene.
I watched it with a friend, and the first thing I said was like, how are you going to do me like that? I can have such a cool scene, and then this thing just flies away on a new scene, and then comes. No, I can't do that.
So yeah, of course, it's a very generic thing that a lot of filmmakers do, where there's always going to be a cool scene coming up, and then they cut to like, oh, this is happening in Hawaii, and it's a news shot, and you're like, I don't want this. Nobody wants it.
No. The whole movie, you're just waiting for God's like, yeah, Godzilla's here, he's gonna do something. Nope.
Yeah. But I mean, and it sucked, because the shot that they use of Godzilla and the Muto fighting, I was like, why couldn't you just give that to me? I don't want to see it in a newsreel. Just give that to me. Yeah. That's what everybody wanted.
Build that anticipation.
It's one of those things where she's got to find out, everything, and it's just a stupid shot. And I'm blanking right now on what happens after this.
You watched more than I stepped away. I don't remember.
Come on, Ara. I brought you on for this reason. You got to help with the plot.
I know this. I know a little bit past the scene. I know that they're tracking it on the boat,
This is
And
professionalism.
Say
Somebody-
this is
Right.
the part that we stopped watching.
Godzilla. No, I think they're following Godzilla.
And then
Yeah.
I'm kind of foggy, but I know that some of this energy stored in some mountain.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and then that's where it kind of goes blank for me. I know it's like they're tracking it, and then it's like the energy stored in this mountain, and that's about it.
well, what they do is they figure out, because this is when they really start talking to Ford's character again, and he mentions that his dad was studying echolocation and communication between animals.
Right.
And that's when that whole conversation comes about Godzilla eavesdropping and all that fun stuff. Predatory eavesdropping. But anyway, then it cuts to, they ask where the inert egg was kept. And it was kept in one of those
nuclear waste sites in Nevada. Right.
Nevada,
Yep.
Then it cuts to that whole scene.
Yeah, and then they're searching through all the vaults, and then they open the vault and the light shines through. It's because the egg hatched, and it just shows. I mean, it's a really cool shot where they open the vault and the light shines in, and then they look in the distance and you just see the Muto like really small, like just destroying Las Vegas, just absolutely. And then it shows, and then the next scene is people gambling, and then the whole roof just comes in because it steps on it.
Yeah.
Oh man, there was a lot of cool shots in that entire that entire playthrough. There was the scene where the firefighters are like in the hotel and they got to break down the door, and they open the door and there's no room. It's just open.
Exactly.
There's so cool
cinematography in this movie.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I go live and I lose all the words. I sound like an idiot. I sound dumb.
We're just here.
Right. That's okay. If this ship's going down, I'm going down with it. But yeah, so that happens, and then
they use the nuke to lure them.
Right. They put a nuke on a train. What?
It's a great plan. Okay, just let it happen.
Yep.
It worked out well for him, right? The thing found it, ate it, pretty much.
Yep.
What a dumb. Oh my god.
San Francisco, is that where they met up at? The two star-crossed.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, Ford is like, I'm gonna help. I'm gonna do this instead of going and saving my wife and son and getting them out of San Francisco, since we know that's where they're going. And yet I'm not gonna go try to do anything about it. I'm just gonna do this, which I know is gonna fail. Because this train's moving really slow, and that Muto can move really fast. Oh my God. It was all bad. It was just, in my opinion, the whole train thing was bad. I think when the Muto finally makes it to the weapon and it destroys the train, like it being at night and you don't see it the whole time. You see it in like when it gets close, like it's attacking the train, you see it and then it backs off and it's just dark. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, the whole fact of throwing the nuke on the train was kind of stupid.
What I don't get is that like these monsters eat radiation, so let's nuke them. It's not full of radiation.
It was more of a lure, right? They were trying to lure.
No, it's trying to lure them, but the newer bombs were supposedly supposed to kill them.
Yeah.
And they have a higher, yield higher megaton.
What's the guy's name?
Sarazawa.
He didn't believe it or whatever. Like, and I don't know. I was just like, they eat radiation. Here you are gonna feed them. What powers them?
The thought was, apparently, because of course this is how it works, military might, right? They don't want to listen to the scientist guy. That's just old school sci-fi tropes. But anyway, The idea was it's a lot stronger than old military nuclear weapons. So in theory, it would kill them. And Sarazawa didn't have a better plan. And his opposition to it was, of course, his father died in Hiroshima. And he had a stopwatch when it stopped during the A-bomb drop of Hiroshima. And that's why he was against the idea. Other than the fact of, obviously Godzilla eats it, and obviously it's just stupid to use an atomic weapon like that, but whatever.
Oh, man.
Got any better ideas? F it. Nuke them.
Yeah, I just love his line of "Let them fight." Probably the best line in the whole movie.
That's absolutely.
I mean, what do you do at that point? You're gonna go yell at it? I mean,
no, they'll have a protest.
This is rude.
Listen, my favorite is when Godzilla finally makes it to, I think the next thing is when Godzilla makes it to San Francisco, right? When they get there and they're shooting at him. Why would you follow him this entire time and then just start shooting at him? And then you realize, oh my God, these bullets aren't penetrating him. Let's waste all of our ammo on this indestructible being. All right, just keep firing on him. And then he gets pissed off. He pretty much like brushes it off, but he's like, oh shit, my sails are like 35 feet tall. And they're just accidentally destroys the Golden Gate Bridge. Just sorry. And then, yeah, that's when the Mutos meet up and they do their thing. And the female goes and lays her eggs.
Do their happy dance.
Yeah, they do their weird thing, and she lays them. She takes the nuke from the train, and she brings it and hangs her eggs. Like she uses her eggs to hang it. Like it's a weird look, right? That's what they did. Like it was like the eggs were holding on to the nuke, and they were feeding off of the nuclear energy. And we get one of the coolest shots of the entire movie, where they're going to do a skydive into San Francisco in between the Godzilla and the male Muto fighting. Which it is actually a really cool shot because you don't get any sound. It's pretty much silent. It's pretty much what the skydivers are hearing. And them flying through, like in between them, and like kind of going down Godzilla's body, which is massive, but them just going at it. And so the female then goes and helps the male fight Godzilla. And they're kind of doing some work on him. And the soldier people are like, hey, guy who defuses bombs, let's go defuse this, or let's go. I believe they needed to disconnect the bomb and they needed to get it out of the city. But they were also going to find and they weren't even going to try to destroy the eggs. Hey, maybe we should figure out a way to destroy these things that once they're born, there's going to be 1,000 of them.
No, that's a technicality.
No. The only thing that Ford is smart enough to do, and in this entire film, he's like, oh shit, we probably should destroy these, huh?
Yeah, right.
Like, good job, Ford. You did something useful in this film. Thank you. But and so they disconnect the bomb and they're carrying it away. And he's like, oh shit, there's a tanker truck there. I'm gonna unscrew it. And then there was a bunch of other things with gas in it and pouring all over the place. And then it blows up the eggs, which he doesn't get far enough away to not get blasted by it. So he went from being smart to immediately being an idiot again.
Contradictory.
We can't put him on too high of a pedestal here. Okay, he's got. And then the female comes and does her little cry, which was kind of sad. Because the thing is, if you think about it, like I think people don't understand is that these creatures are huge, and I don't think the Mutos are doing this to be bad. Like they're not bad guys. Like they're not doing it because they're like, I'm evil, I want to destroy the world. No, they're gigantic creatures. What the hell else are they supposed to do? Like Godzilla is the savior of the world, but yeah, he destroys and helps destroy a city. So it's
you have stumpy ass legs like that and be able to walk. And I mean, you got this big ass creature laying eggs all around, and you got to get there, but your legs are about 3 miles wide. I mean. You're kind of.
He doesn't skip leg days. He doesn't skip leg days.
Got the fine ass tree trunks, man.
Hell yeah.
But yes,
I want to comment on that if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
All it is they're just trying to, propagate their species. That's it. Like they are just doing what they're naturally supposed to do as animals. And I'm glad they treat them this way. But like obviously you would look at that like that's villainous. Like. Not really. I mean, obviously, and again, we're switching perspectives where, when we walk around the street all the time, stepping on insects and stuff, you don't think two things of it. Yeah. When it's on the other foot, then it's suddenly a problem.
Right.
Anyway, carry on. That was all I had.
Yeah, and I think Godzilla's a little jealous because he doesn't have, that. You know, he's like, what the hell, man? You get to have fun with this woman and have some babies, and I'm over here just swimming in the ocean doing things.
All of them.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, this is when we finally
better than him.
This is when we finally see the first time Godzilla uses his atomic breath. And it is another amazing shot. And I think that's the great thing about being the first movie is that these shots are just so much cooler because it's the first time you see them. Where like in the later films, when you see him use it, it's still cool as hell.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this movie, it was like, why wasn't he using this before? Why was he not using his atomic? Why did he wait all the way until this point to use it? When in other films, spoiler alert, he uses it a lot. It's like it's unlimited.
They tried to make it, if I remember the director, Gareth Edwards said, when they made this one, they tried to make it more like a last ditch kind of weapon. Like it was something because obviously it would expend a lot of radioactive energy, so he didn't use it all that often. That was the idea.
Right.
Of course.
It makes sense. I mean, it's really cool that that's how they did it because it's, you know, I think if we saw him do it like at the airport, it wouldn't have been as cool then in this scene. But the fact of like, it doesn't pan at his head. It starts from the tip of his tail, like the camera shot, and it pans all the way up until his eyes glow blue and he blasts it out and blasts out the male Muto. So cool. The sound effect of it charging up, as Nemesis was talking about, so good. I don't know why this movie didn't win the Oscar for sound design because it's so good.
So, that kind of makes sense if you think about it, because like being the first movie and him just coming back and like having to fight the first Muto in the like first kaiju, it's like maybe he's not going to use that power yet because maybe he doesn't know he has to, and then you kind of make that the last ditch in the end of the movie.
Yeah. Okay. So he was like, oh my God, I'm getting my ass kicked right now. Cause he kind of was, he was fighting two of them and he's getting tossed around. Like one of them can fly. So like one of them's picking him up and, you know, like I say, he's got thunder thighs. This dude is like, he's getting picked up and dropped. Like he the mobility, which I'm not going to spoil anything. Godzilla's mobility goes from being a sluggish giant to a very agile giant.
Yeah.
Over the course of these films, which is I love it. But like in this film, yes, to see him run was crazy. I was like, oh my God, this dude can move. Like when he charges at them, oh my God. Like, sorry, go ahead.
Know that his thighs are hypnotic. It's like, whoop, whoop, whoop,
whoop. Yeah, that's the sound. That's the sound you hear before it. That was it. It wasn't a sound. No, that was what his thighs sound like when they rub together.
No, but like so, at the beginning of this movie, where he doesn't use it at all until the end, and then he starts using it more. Maybe it's just like
he's just like, well,
yeah,
we got to use it more. It's got to happen, right?
He doesn't. You know, maybe it doesn't take as much out of him as he thought at the beginning, but now it's like I can use this. I mean, he uses it a lot.
Oh yeah. So,
I mean, I would too. That's pretty cool.
Right. So, right.
All the time. I mean,
he's fighting the two. He uses his atomic breath for the first time, which is one of the best shots in the film, and he's attacking those two. And then Ford gets to the female one, I believe. Is chasing after the soldiers who have the nuke, and they're gonna put it on a boat, and then they're just gonna kind of autopilot the boat like way far out, and then it's supposed to explode so it doesn't cause any damage to the city, which eventually it would because that's how radiation works.
Water.
Yeah, it's just like the Dark Knight Rises. Like what? How did Bruce Wayne live? Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's all a figment of Alfred's imagination, but we're gonna get to those films at some point in the future. But yeah, it's such a dumb thing. But like the Muto attacks everybody, and Godzilla eventually kills the male Muto. How does he kill him? Because I know he kills the female one of the coolest fucking thing ever, which is one of many decapitations that happen in these films, because clearly people love seeing things get their heads ripped off.
That's a different Titan.
No. Godzilla started it though. Godzilla started it.
But
so which we'll get to. We'll get to that next. We'll get to that one next week. But yeah, so he bodies the male and then has to take care of the female, and he pries her mouth open and shoots his atomic breath down her throat, causing her head to fall off her body. And I think I applaud, because that was so awesome. So awesome.
The we were in when we watched it did. There was a very loud roaring applause for that moment.
So good. And Ford passes out on the boat, right?
Yeah, he does.
And I was really hoping he was just going to go off with the boat. And be like, hey, did anybody know what happened to Aaron Taylor Johnson? Nobody cares. But no, he survives. And because Godzilla is such a massive creature, he exerted so much energy. He drops into a coma in the middle of San Francisco. Is that what happened? He just he used so much energy. And we see Ford find his son somehow before the mother does. I was confused. How the hell did he find his son? How did he know where his son was?
Every time. It's always a huge crowd. Oh, hey, there you
he
are.
Literally, but that's the thing. But that's the thing. He doesn't find him. It goes to the next scene in the stadium, and he just has his son in his arms, and I'm like, what? How did you know who he was with? What? Okay. And then, of course, it has to show Elizabeth Olsen, who literally was in a building that collapsed, or next to a building that collapsed, but somehow survived it. And does the mother and son meet up.
Yeah.
And it was, no one cared. And yes, Elizabeth Olsen, I love her. She's a fantastic actor, and she killed it. She kills it as Wanda Maximoff in everything. Even in Age of Ultron, she outshines Aaron Taylor Johnson in that film. And to be honest, I think it would have been so much better if she was like the military type, if she was Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, and Aaron Taylor Johnson was just the useless one they had working in a hospital, because she's a better actor. She is. It was. I mean, there was a lot of wasted opportunity in this film. Ken Watanabe, I don't think was in it enough. I mean, he had some of the coolest lines, but him and Sally Hawkins are I love Sally Hawkins. She's great. Oh man, what the heck is that movie she was in? The Guillermo del Toro, Shape of Water. She was fantastic, and she doesn't speak a word in that film. Great movie. She's a great actress. Ken Watanabe's fantastic, and Bryan Cranston, who is phenomenal. You kill 20 minutes into your film. There had to have been some sort of meddling in this film where all of those decisions were made, and they're like, listen, Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen are killing it. They were in the Avengers, okay? What was Bryan Cranston in? Oh, he was in one of the biggest shows of all time, and he killed it in this movie for the limited time he was in it. He was so dedicated, and I'm like, how did you give birth to a son who is literally the worst, the most stone-faced idiot I've ever seen? I am so glad that Aaron Taylor Johnson does not make an appearance in any more of these movies, because there are some pretty wacky characters in these next 3 films that we're going to review. But damn, Aaron Taylor Johnson, we're going to rank. We're going to do something here.
He's not it wouldn't even be possible for him to be in the next film. So you're
right
there.
So exactly. So we're gonna do something. Here. We're gonna rank the main characters of these Monsterverse movies just out of the blue, okay? And because we're just gonna, I just want to put him on a list, and it's gonna be the bottom. It's not even. There's only 4. We're only reviewing 4 films. He's gonna go 6. Okay, he's gonna skip 5. He's going straight to 6. He is the worst main character in any of these films, and probably one of the worst main characters I've seen in a movie in a long time. I can't stand him. I bet Aaron Taylor Johnson, I bet you are a wonderful human being, but you are terrible in this film. And we see Godzilla, or Ken Watanabe's character and Sally Hawkins are in the rubble, and then Godzilla wakes up, and we see the first of like the 3 times of the same exact scene of Godzilla wandering into the water and swimming away. And then immediately it's over. There's nothing else. There was no after credit scene, right? In this one? No. I know there was one. There are some in the next 2, but not in this one.
Yeah, it is majestic.
It's a great BLT. I agree with you. It's a great scene. I love the fact he just like wakes up all like he's like, all right, I'm gonna go swim around and refuel, and then just wanders. And I love his design. The sails, fantastic. And that's it. That is Godzilla 2014. Like I said before, I like this. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. And to rank it right now, it's the only film we've reviewed, so definitely it's got to go number 1 as of right now. And then next week it's probably going to change. Yes, more than likely. So the Mutos, we're gonna rank the bad Mutos as well throughout these 4 films. So the Mutos, of course, are we'll say the bad kaiju. And so they'll be number 1 until probably until next week. Maybe. Depends if I get outvoted.
I mean, isn't Muto just those 2, the male and the female?
Yeah, but that's what we're doing. We're gonna rank the things that Godzilla fights, you know?
Yes.
Or not just Godzilla, but like, so of course in Kong Skull Island and Godzilla versus Kong. Godzilla versus Kong is gonna be very weird to rank things in, but
easy for me.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, it's trying to figure out what never mind. I don't want. We can't spoil anything yet. We still got 3. We got 3 weeks until we talk about that movie. So
you know what? This doesn't spoil anything. But the first thing I said, this is not even before I even watched. I said it's not fair. I said Godzilla has atomic breath and a big ass tail against a monkey. Like, yeah,
he's not a monkey. He's not a monkey.
He's an ape.
He is an ape.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Every time I'm a weirdo, I cringe every time they'd be like, "Oh, that's a big monkey." It's not a monkey. Okay, it's an ape.
No,
ape and a monkey aren't the same thing.
I don't care if you're a monkey or an ape. If you're going against a big ass thing with atomic breath and a big ass tail, it's gonna suck.
What if it was King Kong and Grape Ape? Does anybody get that reference?
Grape Ape. Oh my God, Grape Ape. What a throwback.
King Kong, but I love King Kong, but to me, like, even before I watched the movie, I'm like,
don't worry.
Mind, it's not fair.
We're gonna talk about that more in depth in the next few weeks. So that concludes Godzilla 2014. Next week we will be talking about Kong Skull Island, which, spoiler,
3 times
is amazing. But yeah, so we will be.
Max, and that's all I watch.
Yeah, so we will be talking about Kong Skull Island next week. Same time, same place. I want to thank. Yeah, same. I want to thank DNA Gaming. Where's my finger? There it is. Hey, thanks for coming. I don't know why I'm pointing up when I'm on the top there. Thanks for hanging out. I'm excited for the next few weeks to talk about the next 3 films in this crazy Monsterverse. Yeah, thank you.
All right, no problem. Thank you for having us. Anytime.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again. This is the Parker Chronicles. I had to look over and see what our name was. This is the first episode, so I had to figure out what the hell the name of our show is called. This is the Parker Chronicles, episode 1. We will be, like I said, we're going to be streaming the podcast here on Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And they will be eventually going to be going on YouTube, and we're going to try to get them on some podcast services. So Google Podcasts, Spotify, maybe. We're going to look into it, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of places. Hopefully you guys can be able to listen to this podcast. And with that, I am the Parker XP. You guys can exit out. Who are you? Who are you people?
I am Nemesis Angel.
Who are you?
You're
Hi.
Yes. I'm Dan. I'm half of DNA Gaming.
I'm Angela. I'm the better half of DNA Gaming.
And we will see you all next week. Bye.